Okay. So thank you. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. We're coming to you live from the grounds of the Capitol. And this morning, it's Tuesday,
Yes.
April 29, I guess.
Yes.
And we've got like a day to end this month.
Mm-hmm.
And so, wherever you're watching us on, we'd like to say thanks for watching. My name is Anthony Williams, and by me is my teammate Aaron Talu, and we want to walk you through activities from up the Capitol here this morning. There isn't much going on, but yesterday there were several activities taking place here at the grounds of the Capitol, and we will review, like do a little summary of some of those activities that took place yesterday, and then today we can tell you what's going on. But currently, as you can see, it's relatively calm here on the grounds of the Capitol. Of course, apart from the regular sessions that are usually held on Tuesdays and Thursdays, since the House is on break currently, there isn't much going on. Though right after the argument at the Supreme Court and then breaking out their ruling, there were some actions that took place here on the grounds of the Capitol. Some lawmakers made their way here. So those the Supreme Court's ruling led to some of the actions that you saw. But today, since the House is on break, it's relatively calm here and there is not much going on. And so my colleague Aaron will run you through what went on yesterday, and then we can also bring you up to speed as to what we expect today eventually. Aaron?
Yes. Thank you, Tuni, and good morning to our viewers. It's good to be here again on the grounds of the Capitol. For the past 6 months, you know exactly the grounds of the Capitol building have been center of attraction.
Sure.
We have been here on several occasions, even when the theater got burned, we were here, and on several occasions we have been here.
Thunder.
Yes, we have been here bringing you live happening. But on yesterday, majority members of the House of Representatives, headed by Speaker Richard Nangbekun, had a meeting yesterday in the conference room, one of the conference room of the House of Representatives, and that meeting started with a roll call. And yesterday, in that meeting, in session, you have 48 members appearing yesterday in session. So after the roll call, there was a special statement read by the chief administrators of the House of Representatives, headed by Matriarch Sign. She read a special statement yesterday, and that statement was in acknowledgement of the ruling from the Supreme Court of Liberia, and also the re-argument filed by a lawyer representing the majority members of the House of Representatives, headed by former Grand Cape County Senator Fonati Koffa.
Sure, he represents the majority members.
Yes.
And then you mentioned they acknowledged the Supreme Court ruling.
Yes.
But also submitting a petition for a re-argument of that ruling.
Yes.
Of course, that's the most trending conversation currently as we speak. The majority members of the House of Representatives did file a petition for re-argument to the Supreme Court, and Councillor Vonnie Sherman, like you said, former senator of Grand Cape County, is the one representing the majority members. So
yes, he's a lead lawyer.
Yeah, for the majority members of the House of Representatives. So also they are expected to return May 9, next month by the 9th. They're expected to return. So
that will be the second Friday in May.
Yeah, definitely. So now that the Supreme Court have put out their ruling, obviously weighing on the side of the minority members in a way, and the majority members have filed a petition for a re-argument, which obviously means they're not actually aligning with the previous ruling from the Supreme Court. And so as we speak this morning, there is not much going on. We are here at the grounds of the Capitol, as you can see behind us. Usually when the lawmakers from the majority members appear at the grounds of the Capitol, they will line up over there.
Yes.
Usually do their roll call. The speaker will drive in, meet them right at the entry, and then they will all go in as a team. But today that's not happening because they're on break. But it's only because of the argument that came out from the Supreme Court that had them running here. You know, we saw actions like other lawmakers vandalizing offices, you know, here at the Capitol and all of that. This led to His Excellency the President to put out an official statement making it clear that the government of Liberia will not be held hostage by, and also just yesterday, the Unity Party held a, I think on Sunday, the Unity Party held a press conference. There were other political parties that are aligning with the Unity Party.
Yes.
They
So
all held that press conference.
20 is called the UP Alliance.
Sure.
The UP along with 19 other political parties, so that makes it 20.
Sure. And then also from the opposition end, there are political parties that are aligning already.
Yes.
We saw the former ruling CDC, quote unquote, aligning with the ANC. Though we've not heard from the political leader of the ANC whether he's in on this alignment thing. And we are even hearing news of a planned protest by the folks in the opposition community. And all of these arguments are popping up on a daily basis.
And Tony, speaking of that, on Sunday, during the UP Alliance press conference, you have the national chairman of the ALP,
Sure.
the All Liberian Party.
Yeah.
And he said, when you are given the opportunity to speak, he said, those who went for the ANC press conference, they are not in authority of the ALP. So once you were present at the UP Alliance,
it's fine.
Since you were present at UP Alliance conference, meaning the ALP in totality,
sure,
they are with the Unity Party. So that press conference was actually intended for reaffirmation of solidarity to the president, the way he governed the country. The country is peaceful. People are going about doing their normal business, so that statement was actually in line with reaffirmation to the president's developmental agenda.
Definitely, sure, of course. So, I mean, lots of developments as it relates to national politics, especially emanating from the grounds of the Capitol where we are this morning. But again, like we said, there is not much happening, and we just thought to bring you up to speed and show you what the grounds of the Capitol looks like. We'll take the camera around. At the gate, there is a few police officers, police presence at the main entry, and also His Excellency the President just arrived.
Yes.
We saw his convoy going into the executive mansion just a few moments ago. So there are a few lawmakers who are making their way here, but they're here not necessarily to hold sessions, but there are committee discussions that usually take place while they're on their break. They also have other things going on. So I think we can take the camera there and probably show you some of the lawmakers that are arriving.
Yes. So, folks, we are still here on the grounds of the Capitol building. So that lawmaker Tony that you are seeing, he's a co-chair of rule, order, and administration here at the House of Representatives.
Sure, and he said that at the Speaker's office.
Yes. So Anthony, since the 23rd of April 2025, the ruling of the Supreme Court, Liberians and that ruling spark out debates in all corridors of the country. And one of the key things Liberians continue to talk about is if the Supreme Court fail to acknowledge that yes, majority members of the House of Representatives did business, meaning everything that went on, the Supreme Court notified. But the citizens are saying if the Supreme Court is speaking in that direction, meaning even the budgets that the Supreme Court of Liberia currently operate on, and it should be withdrawn. Because it was a majority members of the House of Representatives
that debated our budget and made it pass.
Who sat for the budget, and even people from the judicial branch came before the House of Representatives to argue their budget. So citizens continue to seek clarity from the Supreme Court. In my mind, it was based on that the House of Representatives held by Richard Nangbe Kun filed in a petition for re-argument before the Supreme Court again.
Okay, great. So folks, we're still here at the grounds of the Capitol. Just thought to show you what the grounds of the Capitol look like. And for those in the comment section, it's not our business to report on what you think we should be saying. we're literally trying to say what's transpiring in the country. It's not up to us to say who's legitimate or who's not legitimate here, just so you know. So these are very critical national issues, and all we can do is to discuss them and not be sentimental about them. We can tell you who's legitimate or not. As we speak, the Supreme Court have made their ruling known, and it's across the country. Everyone knows what the Supreme Court came up to. The lawmakers who are in the majority have their decision to make. They have decided to file a petition of re-argument. They want the Supreme Court to look into the matter again for a second time, and I think that's one of the one of the in fact, it is currently now the most trending thing that's been spoken about as we speak here at the grounds of the Capitol. So basically, we as just giving the information that's available to us. It's not up to us to make decisions. You don't expect me or expect us to come and tell you this person is legitimate or not. I mean, I think we should just follow the trend and give the news as it emanates and not necessarily to be sentimental about the details. But wherever you're watching us from, we respectfully acknowledge your presence on this live video. We also appreciate your comments. Keep breaking your comments in, and thanks for following wherever you're following from. So, like we said, there are not much lawmakers here on the grounds of the Capitol. We just have, I think, just one or two of them who have made their way in here already. This is the spot where the speaker's vehicle usually on my internet. Yeah. So, I mean, sure. I mean, this is one of the lawmakers here. He's from River G County, and he's on the grounds of the Capitol. He's about to depart. He was just here briefly, but as you can see, he has boarded his vehicle already, and he'll be leaving any moment from now. He'll be headed out. So, wherever you're watching from, we'd like to say thanks for watching. Stick and stay with us. Thanks for following. When we also made we also told you that by the 9th of May, they're expected to appear here at the grounds of the Capitol. So, but that's going to be over the weekend. So it's going to be over the weekend. So I guess that will happen right after Friday, because Friday is going to be over the weekend. It's going to be the second Friday they're going to be here, but it's obviously going to be over the weekend. So I mean, I guess they will have to push it further because they usually come on Tuesday. And I happen to see the director of press. Fortunately for us, thank God, we've seen the director of press here on the grounds of the Capitol, Director Robert Haynes. Good thing we caught up with you, Director. Thanks for allowing us to talk to you. We're just here on the grounds of the Capitol. You know, this your ground is an area of uncertainty. Anything can happen, so we thought to just come. But good thing is we saw you. Welcome to national television, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. Great job you continue to do for our country. Prosperity, George, all of us.
Okay, thank you very much. So before we start, I would really appreciate were you to just brief off quickly as to happenings here on the grounds of the Capitol.
Well, things are relatively calm here on the grounds of the Capitol. Great job happening here. Of course, yes, this is the biggest the biggest theater of political activities. And so, yeah, but staffers are working as you see. They are basically in the offices. Some the maintenance people are working.
Sure.
There are routine maintenance happening here. As a matter of fact, under the stewardship of House Speaker Richard Nampicombe, there are a lot of reforms activities taking place on the grounds of the Capitol. Basically, I showed some time ago. Some folks were talking about Iron Gate is now at the chamber. Yes, these are part of reform processes. We live in a kind of world where we have to be very protective of what we do.
But someone would say it's because of the political nature of, or because of the happenings of the grounds at the grounds of the Capitol. That's why you enforce the door.
These are reform processes taking place. It is not only about doing political happenings, but this administration have basically thought that, look, we have to be, for instance, many people have said every time there are shifting of microphones in the chamber. I tell you now, I'll be in the chamber before we zoom in. You'll be able to see that there are installation of microphones on the decks of each of the lawmakers, and these are part of the reform processes taking place here under the stewardship of our House Speaker Richard Nampicombe. but things are relatively calm, and this is the big this is a politics in Liberia. So yes.
Okay, Director, we are told they expected to resume, I think, the second Friday in May, I guess. Are you care to bring us up to speed regarding that?
Oh yes. So the way it is, we have 3 breaks, and we resume in keeping with the Constitution of Liberia. Article 32 it speaks basically about when the legislature come together and stuff like that once a year. The second working Monday in January. When we resume the second working Monday in January, we work all the way up to March. We'll work all the way up to March. The third Friday in March, we close. And so that was consistent with the Constitution, and we had to, with the submission of a budget, the budget was being looked at, the budget was being passed, other key legislations, the Liberian Senate concurred with the House in the passage of the tourism bill, the National Tourism Bill. So detaching the tourism bureau from the Ministry of Information, so to have it as an autonomous agency by itself. Wow. You know, yes, and so that was being worked on also in the first quarter of the House of Representatives. So we close in March and expected to resume the second Friday in the month of May, and that is where we now look up to. By the second Friday in May, we'll be back up Capitol Hill to do the work of the Liberian people. As it stands, there are committee members still working up, though we are closed. But prior to our closure, on the very day of the closure, the presiding officer announced, then it was the deputy speaker who was presiding during the closure. He announced some people who were added to leadership to keep the work of the house running, and so they are actively working. One of such is the committee on. There was this committee set up to look at concessionaires across the country, and that is being chaired by Bon County District 7 Representative Holy Family. They have been working since. They've had a couple of meetings with Beer Mountain. They had a couple of meetings with Western Cluster. They've been having a series of meetings to look at reviewing these concessions company to see whether or not they are living up to the Mineral Development Agreement. So yes, it is what it is here on the grounds of the Capitol. The lawmakers are reinvigorated to do what they always done in the interest of the country. We look up to see by the second Friday in May when the lawmakers will be back up Capitol Hill to work in the interest of the Liberian people.
And I also want to find out if we can get any details. What about this submission of a petition for re-argument after the Supreme Court recently came out with their ruling regarding the impasse here at the Capitol?
Well, what the Supreme Court came out with on the 23rd of April was not a ruling, rather it was a reinterpretation. It was interpretation of what they meant by ultra-virus. And so, yeah, that went on, and that was being given. And the majority members of the House thought to acknowledge the ruling, but however, anticipate a re-argument, and that was being filed. It was duly filed for clarity and correctness, and it is now at the Supreme Court of Liberia.
Okay, and what does it intend to achieve?
What it intend to achieve? Well, basically, there are rules. This House operates on the basis of rules, and the Constitution of Liberia provides for that. That the legislature shall consist of the House of Representatives that represent the people, and the Liberian Senate that represent the territorial land space of the country. No matter how big or small a county is, you always get 2 senators. But for representative on the basis of the population, that's why you see Montserrat County have 17 electoral districts, meaning they have 17 representatives for 2 senators, right? So like next to Montserrat is Nima County, 9 electoral districts, but they have 2 senators. And so that's how it is. So the Senate represents the territorial land space, while the House represents the people. And that's the reason why the Constitution of Liberia, Article 32D, Article 34DR says that all financial and revenue bills shall emanate from the House. And that's why the budget always emanates from the House of Representatives. All right, there where the discussion of the budget comes from the House, because it's the people. Okay. All right. So and that's how it is. And so we will look out to see all of these work for the good of the country. And we are very committed, and the lawmakers are re-energized. And as a matter of fact, just on yesterday, majority members in leadership meeting, it was a very special leadership meeting being held on yesterday.
And I was about to ask you because yesterday they met yesterday, started with a roll call, acknowledging the previous Supreme Court interpretation and also discussing their petition for re-argument. Lots of happenings yesterday.
Yes, of course, yes. The leadership meeting, every Monday we have leadership. As a matter of fact, sometimes some of the folks, it's part of our work to always educate the public. Many people believe that lawmakers in Liberia only work 2 times a week,
yeah.
and that
Tuesday and Thursday.
That is far-fetched. The lawmakers work the 5 working days of the week. Monday is for leadership, Tuesdays for section, Wednesdays for committee meeting, Thursday for section, Friday for constituency visit. It is the time you have people leaving the district to come and visit with the lawmaker, and probably from the district bringing some issue to the lawmaker. So that's how it is. So yes, as you put it, yesterday was a very special. It was a special leadership meeting because roll call, and that roll call was more like re-invigorating or getting a reaffirmation of this support to the majority of the members of the House of Representatives. And of course, yes, when that roll call was being done, the chief clerk had to read out the special statement on behalf of the majority members of the House of Representatives. Let me say this to you. Probably people may not be following to know that when this issue started, the impasse at the legislature started up by November 21st. They have elected a new speaker, and then the business of the people started to go on. And there were key legislations that got passed, inclusive of the national budget, or 2025 national budget. The budget is in effect, and other bills that got passed. And so, yes,
things are working. That has been going on since November.
The business of the people have been going on. It continues to go on. And let me state that that it will continue to work. And this is going to work in the interest of the country and the people.
Is there some clarity with this thing about block? Are there actually blocks here at the Capitol?
At the legislature, we do not have blocks. Let me say this. I know it's the choice of words some people use, but
yeah, because we hear majority block, minority block, especially since the impasse started.
So we don't have blocks.
Is it about the numbers or the way people characterize it?
I saw people use their own coining of words, but what we have in the legislature, we have the majority, and we obviously have minority. And this is not only unique to Liberia, it is in other parliaments. For instance, if we were to go to Ghana, Ghana does have majority members and they have minority members. So in fact, they get majority leader. Even in Sierra Leone, they have majority leader in the plenary, in the parliament, and that's how it is. And so there's a difference between us and those British colonized countries. For us, we have the legislature because people are elected here. But in parliament, some people are in the executive, they represent, they become eye for the president or the prime minister. But everybody here are elected. The 30 senators are elected. The 73 representatives are elected by your people in their various constituencies. Yeah, so we have majority members
and minority members and not necessarily blocks.
Not necessarily blocks. Not necessarily blocks. So we don't have blocks in the legislature, but instead we have majority members, and that's how when bills are being introduced, before bill pass, you will have to have the majority. And how it works, you will have to after the argument on the floor. When there's this motion, when this motion is before the motion is taken for people to vote, you have people raising their hand, or either they vote by yea or nay, or there's a digital platform where they're able to put their card in, and where you and how you voted is registered. So always majority have always have their say. I mean, a minority have had a say, and the majority have had a will, and that's how it works in parliaments across the world. So it's not only unique to Liberia.
Okay, great. That's sufficient explanation for what I wanted to know. But lastly, before I leave you, except if there's anything else you want to talk about, the petition for re-argument, has the Supreme Court taken receipt, and have the House gotten any response from them?
Yes, the Supreme Court has received it. One of the justices in chamber Johnson, Clinton Johnson, received that. It is there at the Supreme Court. That's what we can speak to for now.
Okay.
It is at the Supreme Court. It's been received.
Okay.
Because it works this way. When you file in, or if you written a communication somewhere, upon a receipt, there will be a return.
Sure, that's what I'm asking.
Right, and so it being received.
Okay.
Is what we can say.
Director, except if there's anything you want to mention before I leave you.
To give the people of Liberia reassurance that the House of Representatives, under the stewardship of our Speaker Richard Nankwe will continue to do the work she's always done in the interest of the Republic of Liberia, and nothing going to stop that, no interference. This country belongs to all of us, and we're not going to retrogress. There are going to be progress made, and we see that from a holistic standpoint. But the second Friday in May, we're going to be back up capital, re-evacuated to do what we've always done in the interest of the Republic of Liberia. And the people matters. The minute of the people matters. And so, of course, yes, we're going to look at all of these things to work. Liberia is not Monrovia. We have 15 counties, 73 electoral districts. And the budget should have trickle-down effect on the lives of our people. And that's what this speaker has basically thought to do, so that the ordinary people feel a part of the national cake. And we look to see these things work for the good of our country.
Robert Hines is the
Director of Press and Public Affairs,
the House of Representatives. Thank you. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks a lot. I continue to do the job we do for our country. Posterity will judge all of us.
Thanks a lot. And thank you, Director. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
And obviously, on the other hand, I mean, he mentioned that the work of the House of Representatives continues. But he also made it clear there isn't blocks, but well, the discussion is always going on. There's majority block and minority block, as we all know, over since November, since this impasse started. And making some statements. Also, he mentioned the petition for re-argument being submitted at the Supreme Court. He did not say if the Supreme Court have made a response yet, or have called the House of Representatives, especially those in the majority, for another probably argument or interpretation. He have not said that, but also he made it clear that the petition for re-argument was submitted at the Supreme Court by the majority of the lawmakers here at the Capitol. So wherever you're watching us on and wherever you're following, kindly leave your comments in the comment section. We'd like to say thanks for following. We just thought to come here at the grounds of the Capitol and probably bring you up to speed as to what's transpiring. That's the space where the speaker usually parks his vehicle is actually empty, but there is a vehicle that is parked there that looks to me like a protective vehicle to probably protect the space, because we all know what happens normally. I mean, you have been following live videos and seeing lawmakers coming here at the grounds of the Capitol, parking their vehicles in the space of the speaker. And I guess this vehicle that is parked in that space is meant to actually protect the space belonging to the speaker, so that another vehicle cannot be parked in that space, because this vehicle doesn't look like that of the speaker. But the space on the floor says reserved for the speaker. So folks, by the second Friday next week, in May, we expect to see the return of the lawmakers here at the House of Representatives to start the business of the people. But also there is the minority members of the lawmakers who are disenchanted regarding the removal of Councillor J. Fonati Koffa of Grand Crew County, and he filed a bill of information at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave their interpretation of that bill that was filed, which quote-unquote claimed that the argument weighed on the side of Councillor J. Fonati Koffa. Now, the majority lawmakers have filed a petition for a re-argument of that interpretation that the Supreme Court provided days ago. So we look forward to hear from the Supreme Court as the majority members have submitted their bill of re-argument. We've not heard from the Supreme Court yet when they will be called for that re-argument petition that was filed. But howbeit, we're here at the grounds of the Capitol, and there's not much like we said, but we just thought to show you what the grounds of the Capitol looks like. It looks relatively calm. There's not much happening here. You all know the actions, how it looks like, especially since the impasse started, when lawmakers from the minority side appear and lawmakers from the majority side appear, the hauling and pulling You all know how it works. So usually when the lawmakers from the majority side usually appear, they will line up right here at the front of the Capitol. They will count their numbers, and with the arrival of House Speaker, and then they will all go in for session. But today that's not happening because they're on break. But there have been some activities here, especially yesterday, where the majority lawmakers appeared and they discussed the argument that was proffered by the Supreme Court, and also they did discuss the filing of a petition for re-argument. So basically, that's it. Aaron, can you join me quickly if we can just sum this up, and then we can probably leave because there is not much happening here. I guess so. My colleague Aaron and I will just do a little summary, and then we can call this, bring this to an end. Aaron, as we just spoke to Robert Haynes, the director of press here at the House of Representatives. I mean, you heard from him, but anyway, Aaron, let's just sum this up because we're in the driveway.
Yes, thank you. And you were speaking about the vehicle park right there.
Yeah.
You know, for the past 6 months,
Yeah.
this particular space here that has been reserved for the speaker has been the issue of contention.
I know.
Every time we come here, somebody has to park the vehicle over there.
Yes,
So
yes.
it should not be a strange thing. So, I mean, the fight still continues, Tony. That's a fact.
Obviously.
So until it can be resolved, this particular space will also be the issue of contention. People will also fight all the particular space. Because this space also show that you have legitimacy right here.
They're on the grounds, yeah.
Yes. So once your vehicle is parked here, I mean, it tells you that you're the speaker. So to avoid that,
parking a vehicle just doesn't fly because you need majority members, and you understand, you need majority members and all of that. Come to think of it, just parking your vehicle, I think it's just a sign of defiance.
Yes.
You know, from the way other lawmakers do it, park their vehicles. It's a sign of defiance, definitely, from the way I look at it.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this is legislative politics.
Yeah.
They know how to play it, and we see it from the outside different, and
Especially-
they inside see it different.
Sure, especially where someone in the comment section is concerned why we're not saying who the legitimate speaker is, as if it's up to us to say who the legitimate speaker is. I mean, definitely, we ourselves are following the news. We were here, the Supreme Court put out their interpretation of what they consider the Bill of Information filed by Councillor Fonati Koffa to be, and those on the majority side rejected that vehemently. I mean, just from the onset, the moment it was released, current speaker made it clear that in no way that the majority lawmakers are going to assume that Councillor Fonati Koffa is the speaker and that he remains the speaker of the House of Representatives. I mean, that's that. There's nothing else we can say to us. That it's not up to us to say who's legitimate or not.
No, it is not our job. Our job is to report what is happening.
Yes, sure.
And we are here telling you exactly how the grounds of the Capitol building look like.
Definitely.
So that's all we have to do. We cannot say who is the speaker, who is not the speaker.
Yeah.
We are not legislators.
No.
No, we are journalists. So our job is to just report. So we are here on our report task. That's what we say.
So for those of you in the comment section, you are entitled to your comments respectfully. We respect them. And but basically, we just thought to come up here and show you what's transpiring and you know what's happening. That's all we can do for you. So there's not much, like we said. There's little police presence. We just have few officers at the main entry there, sitting there. We have staffers of the House of Representatives. Yeah, whatever way you want to describe them, but they're hanging around. We don't see them in their offices working, but that's because they're all actually on break also, so you can claim that they're just hanging around. But basically that's it. The Senate is also similar thing. So the grounds of the Capitol is relatively calm. Thanks for watching. We'll rejoin you in case anything pops up. That's why we are signed here for. Anthony Williams.